Hi, everyone. We kick off the program with a compelling conversation about succession planning. People don't often talk about it because it's a hard subject, and we have two experts who understand it very well. Jay Levine, CPA partner. He's a partner who happens to have a CPA at Prager Metis, our longtime partners, and Tony Zecca, practice leader, Prager Metis Advisory Services. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Tony, let's kick this off. Succession planning. First, what is it? Second, why is it so hard to talk about, much less do right?
Succession planning is all about planning for the exit from your business. Entrepreneurs, people that own businesses, built them up, family businesses, at some point, the ownership has to be passed on. And what makes it difficult is the emotional part of it. Someone who's built a business, spent their whole life doing it, letting that go and giving it to someone else to then run is a big emotional challenge. And so it's important to start doing it, because succession planning should start 3 to 4 years before the entrepreneur is ready to sell the business, because there's so much that has to be done to optimize the value of the business and to prepare the owner for what does he do or she do with the money that they get once they sell the business. So there's lots of aspects to it.
Jay, let me ask you this. In light of what Tony just said, both of you and your colleagues have this conversation with the CEO or other top executives in an organization. How much of it is, as Tony said, highly personal?
Virtually all of it. I mean, there's a lot of commonality, but it's really about finding out what their goals are and what they really want. It's not a one size fits all. You know, one guy, entrepreneur, may want to say, I just want to maximize the dollars. Another one may leave it to his family. Another one may want to have a big legacy and have the name. It's about them achieving their goals, which is very individual. And so finding out what they want is of paramount importance for starting this process and achieving it, because that tells you the road you're going down. There's many different roads you can go down, many different ways you can transition a business.
But I'm sorry for cutting you off. There's a little bit of a delay here. But Tony, I want to follow up here. How much do mergers of organizations, corporations, whatever, come together, mergers, acquisitions, otherwise known as M&As, right? How much does that complicate the discussion around succession? Because now you have two players on board. And Tony and I used to consult and coach in a company where Tony used to be, where there were co-CEOs. And I thought, really? How complicated? Did I just complicate it, Tony Zecca, unnecessarily, or is that real?
It's not so real. It depends. Like with accounting firms, it's real. With a traditional business, it's not, because typically the acquiring firm takes over management of the merged entity, because the person selling the firm, they may have a contract for a couple of years to stay on, but basically they're doing it because they want to get out of the business.
Right. But in accounting, when companies come together, Jay, one of the things I often think about, and to disclose, I do a whole range of leadership and communication coaching for Prager Metis. Jay, I'm curious about this. When organizations come together, they have different cultures, not just different leaders, but different cultures. How do you guys deal with that?
The best way to try and deal with the cultures is up front before the merger occurs. You know, a merger is like a wedding, and you want to try and go through the dating process and make sure it's a good fit before you can. You know, the letter of intent and the due diligence is the engagement process, and the actual merger is the wedding. And the earlier you can identify whether it's a good fit or not can solve a lot of problems down the road. If it's not, it may not be that anybody's bad, it's just not a proper fit. Otherwise, it gets challenging and everybody has to compromise. But it's really about the value alignment for everybody from the get-go that solves a lot of these issues. If you get into a space where after the fact you have it, you just got to try and work it out like adults.
Yeah. You know, in listening to Jay, Tony, I'm curious about this. I think about bench strength. I'm a old school Yankee fan. I'm my little stupid Yankee out here, which you still get ice cream at the stadium with that.
Yeah.
So, you guys know that's ice cream. Right. But it's not about the Yankees, but it is about bench strength. Tony, how honest are organizations about the bench strength they have and don't have? Because how does succession planning work? if you don't have people on that bench ready to come in and play the game? How honest are most organizations about the relative strength or weakness of their bench?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I think in most cases, the selling executive has a certain opinion about the strength of the bench that he or she has. The acquiring organization, as part of the due diligence, has to come in and really evaluate that bench strength, because if it's an important factor in the merger. If I'm on the acquiring side, I'm the executive that's acquiring, I need to have a bench strength there in the company that I'm acquiring. Otherwise, the deal's not going to work for me. To Jay's point, as part of the dating process, both sides have to get comfortable that the bench strength is there. And that's why succession planning needs to start 3 to 4 years before the executive is ready to sell. Because if there's a bench strength issue, it gives us 3 to 4 years to fix that issue so that we're optimizing that issue for the acquiring company, which increases the value.
Jay, last question on this. When we talk about bench strength, we talk about dating, whatever. Sometimes when you're dating, you don't disclose all of your weaknesses, your faults, your blemishes, whatever. So when it comes to corporations, how honest are most of them when it comes to the challenges they really have? Or do they want to present the best face forward in a potential merger?
But the answer is both. They certainly want to put their best face forward.
Sure.
And put themselves in the best light to maximize their value. But I think, as Tony said, often they're not honest with themselves or realistic about themselves about what their real strength is. A great example is a company that's making a lot of money that the owner thinks is worth a lot. And the next sentence out of his mouth is, if I go away on vacation, this place falls apart without me. Well, then you've got a great paying job, but you don't have anything you can sell. Because you just said, if you go away, which is the intent if you sell, there's nothing, which is why we need time to rectify that before you go to market.
To Jay Levine and Anthony, Tony, Zecca, Tony and I, again, to disclose, we've been working together for many years. He is a consultant, me doing leadership and communication coaching. I want to thank Jay and Tony for joining us, talking about a difficult but incredibly important topic. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, the Helix, Fedway Associates, Inc., the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague Mary Gamba has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ and Commerce Magazine, and the Meadowlands Chamber and Meadowlands Media.